Okay, Mom, thanks for calling, but I have to record my video now. Yes, I am still making those. No, I will not get a normal job. I am also disappointed at myself, don't worry about that, bye Mom. Hello guys, welcome to a new video to my wonderful channel. Today, I am going to be talking about one of my favorite things in the universe. Album covers, more specifically, bad album covers. There is just something about seeing terrible covers and being fascinated about how could a human being approve this. And if you think that this is something that only happens with small bands, it's time to wear your dunce cap because big bands also make some terrifically terrible covers for their albums. And today, in this episode of Watchjojo, I'll be ranking my top 10 terrible album covers by major artists. In this list I will be featuring only albums that were released by major labels, therefore don't expect those weird-ass album covers by artists no one has ever heard of anything else besides the cover, and I also recommend you guys to check out my video on the top 10 wonderfully bad special effects in music videos for some equally bizarre content. So now, no more stretching, let's begin. Number 10. Sabotage. Black Sabbath. Have you even been so hurried to go to an event that you just had to borrow your wife's clothes? Probably nobody except for Bill Ward, since apparently he's wearing his wife's leggings in this photo session, but at least, let's all agree that he's not the only one here that looks weird. Ozzy looks like what would come out of a sexual act in between a priest and RuPaul. Tony Iommi has the most dad outfit possible, complemented by the hand in the pocket that makes him look kinda cheeky, and Geezer Butler is probably only sitting down because he was tired to stay standing awaiting for a good photo. It isn't hard to see how long it took to take the quote-unquote perfect picture. Also, I feel like it's needless to mention the failed mirror effect that reminds me of that meme of the trust nobody, not even yourself kid. It almost feels like the sabotage they were talking about is that the producers chose this picture instead of a decent one for the cover. Number 9. Pet Sounds. The Beach Boys. It might be one of the greatest albums ever made, but we can't deny that if this album was released nowadays, the cover would have become such a meme, because, what better way to reflect your music than feeding goats? Honestly, feeding goats is kinda lame. It would be better if they all did the same as Dennis Wilson and started feeding the air. That is one cultured man knowing what's up. But probably, since it was the 60s, people wouldn't understand him, proving that this man was truly ahead of its time. The true star of the Beach Boys. Dennis Wilson. TM. Number 8. Mellow Gold. Beck. Beck has some truly amazing album covers, but when it comes to this album, it's just wow. First of all, I'd like to talk about the background. That is a sky with this radial blur that's giving this image the feeling of like, oh shit, this is epic gamer time, and in the center of the image we have this thing. I'll name him Greg. Greg seems happy to see me. I mean, for real, if this magnum dong here isn't pure happiness then I don't know what it is. Should I censor this? I don't know if Miss Wojcicki aka Ma'am Banhammer will be triggered by this robotic fornication device. Number 7. Word of Mouth. Ludacris. As you can see in this modern Da Vinci creation known as the cover of this album, Ludacris predicted the invention of pop Funkos by the size of his head compared to the body, and besides him, we have this damned pooch. That apparently needs braces and learn how to have proper proportions and perspective, but what truly messes me up here, is the fact that he's holding that stack of money in the worst way possible. Please hold it correctly, you're needing the money, you are not the only person that's going to use that. Number 6. Weathered. Creed. Here we have almost everything that Creed's know for: strange over-the-top landscapes, usually mountains, partially dead trees, random rays of light in a completely desaturated color palette and of course, shitty CGI. It would only be complete if the lead singer was using his traditional voice that pretty much comes out of his nose and almost T-posing at the same time. And of course, I have to mention the person carving these disembodied heads of the members of the band in the tree. He must have been so bored to consider doing such a thing for no reason. Yeah, the early 2000s were strange times. Number 5. Narita. Riot. Considering Riot's phenomenal list of album covers, it was barely impossible to choose only one to appear on this list, but out of them all, I feel like the winner has to be this one. Mainly, it features the band's mascot. Yeah, that's correct, this Lovecraftian beast is the band's mascot. Keep in mind we're talking about big artists. Riot might be the smallest band in this list, but they're still a pretty big deal in the metal scene. Not back to the cover, here we have the mascot twerking to the faithfully departed while holding an axe, and we also have the airplane in the back. That's either a reference to Pearl Harbor or a really desperate pilot trying to put an end to this madness. Also, now that I'm looking better, this mascot is reminding me of something.
Oh, for the love of Mike, make it stop! It's disgusting!
Number 4. Republic. New Order. Ah yes, the perfect formula to an album cover, two totally unrelated stock pictures stretched to the point that the floater has the same shape of a rugby ball. I thought Pearl Jam was lazy for putting an avocado as the cover of its album, but this might have been even lazier. They probably made this cover by searching in Google Images the first words that came up in a random word generator and then mashed them together with a weird fade in the middle of it. If this isn't a winning formula to the album cover designing process, then I don't know what it is. Number 3. Mystery to Me. Fleetwood Mac. Many album covers are inspired by its album title, but in this case, it's the other way around. Since probably the person who chose the name of this album clearly named after the fact that he didn't know why the fudge the rest of the band thought it was a good idea to choose this drawing to be the cover of their album. It's a gorilla-elephant hybrid. A goriphant? Or an elorilla? I don't know. Enjoying a nice meal composed of a sponge filled with dyed mercury, covered with shaving cream and some Orbeez at the top, and for dessert, some delicious boiled book. But apparently he's not having a good time in his meal, since the specimen is in tears, probably because he's conscious of the fact that he exists, and he's in a current state of kill me please. I understand him. Number 2. Reality. David Bowie. DeviantArt was founded in 2000. 3 years later, this album cover shows up. Coincidence? I don't think so. David Bowie probably was extremely inspired by DeviantArt to craft this masterpiece of an album cover, since we can see pretty much everything that defines DeviantArt here. It is basically every clip art a person could found put together in Photoscape. And maybe the reality of the title is referring to that meme of expectative and reality, because the designer of this piece, that was probably made by his toddler, that envisioned an amazing artwork in his head, but when he went to actually make it, this is what came out and he called it a day. Da Vinci cries every day knowing that he'll never be able to come up with something this stupendous. Yeah, we've just passed some truly astounding stuff. And the number 1 pick as expected is not only monumental but it's also made by maybe one of the biggest artists on this list. You guys will see it after the honorable mentions.
Haven't we had it rough? Haven't we lost enough?
Number 1. Dance of Death. Iron Maiden. There we have it folks, the best album cover ever made in the history of mankind. This picture is a gold mine, every single detail there is absolutely mesmerizing. First of all, the weird baby dancing, that's the only person besides Eddie in this piece that's fully dressed. Then we have this person that apparently is going to scare this partially off-screen person that's going to scare someone else off-screen. This upside-down person that probably should check his doctor, cause his shoulder is clearly dislocated. These two women around Eddie, one is sassy and the other is ashamed of herself and her surroundings. This goat guy with no pose, this female in the forefront with a giant ass neck doing the Eddie Gordo pose, and finally, my personal favorite, this baby wearing a glittered bra doing this wanna fight pose above a doggo that's clearly in pain. After all, his paws are broken and the anti-gravitational foot of the baby above him is clearly cropping inside his body. To be honest, the only thing that would make this album cover even better is if there was somebody T-posing in the picture. Well, that was one hell of a ride, wasn't it? What do you guys think of this video? What covers you would have included? Please, share it in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. My name is Marshall, and see you next time.